Personal finance, another perspective, vision, goals, and goal planning. Click Next to continue. Your personal financial plan. Section 2, Goals. What are your top 3 major goals? Be detailed, specific, and complete. What are the things that will keep you from attaining your goals? Action plan. Short-term goals, 1 year or less. Medium-term goals, 2 to 10 years. And long-term goals, 10 to 80 years. Understand the role of personal financial planning. Click Next to continue. Click on the buttons. What is the purpose of financial planning? To help you use your resources more wisely to achieve your personal and family goals. It will help determine where you are, where you want to be, and how you will get there. Will financial planning help make you more money? It may not, but it will help you in your stewardship and accountability areas to be better and more informed stewards. Make wiser choices. Click on the buttons. Why isn't personal financial planning easy? Some are uncomfortable discussing financial matters. Example, the fear of finance. As you learn, you will get over it. Motivation and time is required to complete an accurate plan. The class and future grade may help your motivation. Good record keeping is necessary both before and during the planning period. We may be able to help develop better habits. What can you accomplish as a result of financial planning and this course? Manage the unplanned. Save for retirement. Protect your assets. Invest intelligently. Minimize your payments to Uncle Sam. Accumulate wealth for special purposes. What is our ultimate goal? To become better, more financially self-reliant stewards, and to help others do and become the same. Ezra Taft Benson counseled, plan for your financial future. As you move through life toward retirement and the decades which follow, we invite all to plan frugally for the years following full-time employment. Be even more cautious about get-rich schemes, mortgaging homes, or investing in uncertain ventures. Proceed cautiously so that the planning of a lifetime is not disrupted by one or a series of poor financial decisions. Plan your financial future early, then follow the plan. Do you understand the role of personal financial planning in helping you to achieve your goals? Understand the requirements for your personal financial plan. Click on each tab above to know more. What is a personal financial plan? It is a document that contains all critical areas of your personal financial life. It is your individual and personal roadmap for achieving your personal and family goals. Is there a process to follow to put together your personal financial plan, PFP? Click Next to learn about the process. Personal Financial Plan, PFP, Process. Click on each button to learn more about the process. Step 1. Catch your vision. What do you need to decide? You must decide what is truly important to you. What would you like to be remembered by? What do you want to do with your life? These are probably the most important questions you will answer. Step 2. Evaluate your financial health. Why evaluate your financial health? To determine where you are now financially. If you don't know where you are, how can you determine how to get where you need to be? To understand your current situation in regards to income, spending, and wealth. Are you financially healthy? To assess your whole financial picture, are you solvent? If you are, you are doing better than most students. Step 3. Define your goals. Why define your personal goals? You will achieve what you set your mind to. Write your goals down. Attach a cost to each goal. What are the costs? Time, money, and effort. Determine potential obstacles. What will you do to avoid those obstacles? Set a date for when goals are to be completed. When can the goal be reasonably accomplished? Make your goals smarter, strategic, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound, and evaluated, and reassessed often. Step 4. Develop a plan. Why develop a plan of action? You must know what you should work on. Your plan should be flexible. It should be able to change as your situation in life changes. Liquid. It should have the ability to convert non-cash assets into cash with relative ease. Protective. It should be able to meet the unexpected large expenses without difficulty. Tax-friendly. Example, minimize taxes. It should pay Uncle Sam all that is owed and no more. How do you consider future needs? Develop a spending plan or budget. Plan for insurance. Plan for big-ticket purchases. Plan for managing and minimizing debt. Determine your investment plan and investment strategies and follow that plan. Plan for the expenses of children, missions, and college. Plan for retirement and then live your plan. Plan for estate transfer consistent with your goals. Step 5. Implement your plan. How do you implement the plan? Use common sense and moderation. Don't force yourself to track every penny. Use wisdom in your plan. Remain positive about your plan. Your plan is a goal to set your sights by, not a stick to beat yourself with. Stay on track after the detours. Detours come to all. Good things come to those who hang in there. Step 6. Revise your plan as necessary. Why is reevaluation so important? Because people and goals change. Periodically review your progress. Fine-tuning is necessary with every plan. Make sure that your plan still matches your goals. Review your goals annually at a minimum. Be prepared to start over if your plan no longer meets your needs. Remember, your plan is etched in paper, not in stone. Your personal financial plan. What will we do in this course? In this course, we will do steps 1 to 4. Step 1. Decide what you want out of life. Determine what is important to you. Step 2. Evaluate your financial health. Step 3. Define your personal and financial goals. Step 4. Develop a plan of action and start living your plan today. Get a 1 to 2 inch binder and put in tabs for 16 sections. Get a fun picture of yourself or your family and put it on the cover. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening, when I counted my scanty store. For life is just employer. He will give you what you ask. But once you have set the wages, why, you must bear the task. I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn, dismayed, that any wage I had asked of life, life would have willingly paid. Click Next to continue. Your personal financial plan. Personal goals. Finally, work on your values assignment. What values will you live by to help you accomplish your vision and mission? This is a starting point. You can also include other things such as family mottos, family mission statements, what you stand for, etc. Note that these will change as you think them through and work on them carefully. Understand the 3 types of goals. Personal goals. M. Russell Ballard said, "I am so thoroughly convinced that if we don't set goals in our life and learn how to master the techniques of living to reach our goals, we can reach a ripe old age and look back on our life only to see that we reached but a small part of our potential." When one learns to master the principles of setting a goal, he will then be able to make a great difference in the results he attains in this life. Types of goals. A wise philosopher over a century ago said, "We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience." The key then is to keep both the spiritual and the temporal balance in our personal and family goals. What are the types of goals? There are 3 different types of goals we should be aware of. Goals related to identity, integrity, and temporal measures. Click on the buttons to learn more about the types of goals. What are identity goals? These are goals that relate to our long-term view of who we are and how we see ourselves. These goals help us be better in our long-term view of who we are and what we want to become. We are children of our parents. We may be spouses. We may be parents to our children. We must never lose sight of who we are. What are integrity goals? Integrity goals relate to the characteristics and standards you want to achieve in the work and service you provide. These goals relate to how we will work, what we will and will not do, and characteristics and skills we wish to attain. We must strive to have integrity in all we do, regardless of the temptations and enticements which beset us. We must always be willing to accept responsibility for our choices and to be held accountable. This is integrity. What are temporal goals? These are goals that relate to the temporal measures of success. It could be money, title, and fame. It could be positions at work or in industry. It could include influence, rank, or power. It could include assets, investments, or possessions. We must be vigilant, as temporal goals are generally the most visible and easily measured of our goals, and hence may be worked on more. Types of goals continued. Why should we have each type of goals? Example, have balance in our goals. Temporal goals, if unchecked, might override more lasting and eternal goals of identity and integrity. They also, if not balanced, may lead to trade-offs such as working longer hours, spending less time with family, or taking assignments inconsistent with personal values due to extenuating circumstances. If not careful, life can easily become an unending stream of extenuating circumstances. Understand and apply the principles of effective goal setting. Once you understand your vision, I have found principles that help me set real goals. Start with the end in mind. Write down your goals. Make your goals smarter. Review your goals often. Remember your goals will change over time. Have some fun goals. Remember that success is not measured by achievement, but by striving. Setting real goals. Write down your goals. Write down your goals as you think about them. A goal not written down is only a wish. The following are examples of questions you can ask yourself to help you write down your goals. What do you enjoy doing? What makes you really love life? What do you like doing with your spouse and kids? Once you have written them down, think about them. Are they what you should be working toward? Put fire and desire in them. You must be willing to work toward them. This is probably the most difficult thing you will do in a long time. Principles of goals. Make your goals smarter. SMARTER is an acronym for helping you as you strive to set effective goals. Click on each letter to learn more. S equals specific. Goals should be specific. They should answer the questions who, what, where, when, and why. A general goal would be to get in shape. A specific goal would be to run 3 miles 3 times a week. M equals measurable. You must be able to track progress toward your goal. A non-measurable goal would be to save for retirement. A measurable goal would be to have $50,000 per year in retirement for 30 years. A equals assignable. Goals need to be assignable and specific as to who will do what parts of the goal. We must take responsibility for our goals and the things we can achieve. R equals realistic. Goals must be realistic and within our capabilities to achieve. T equals time-bound. Time-bound goals are goals with a specific time frame. A goal is time-bound if you set a specific date it is to be achieved by. E equals evaluated. In the process of goal setting, your goals should be evaluated often. You should judge the effectiveness of the goal and its impact and ability to bring you toward your higher goals. R equals reassess. Over time, you will need to evaluate your goals and reassess the goal as your situation changes. Goals are written on paper, not in stone. As such, they need to be evaluated and reassessed periodically to make sure you are working where you should be working. Review your goals often. Keep them observable. That which we remember and review often, we are more likely to accomplish. Write down your goals and review them often. Set aside time periodically to review and update your goals, daily, weekly, monthly. Write your goals and place them in places where you will see them every day or more often. Bathroom mirror, refrigerator, car dashboard. Setting real goals. Remember, goals may change. Keep your major goals in mind and remember that some of them may change over time. That doesn't mean this is a useless exercise. It just means that you must be flexible, just like your goals are. If you will keep your key goals in your mind always and work toward them, you will be able to reach them. Setting real goals. Success is not measured by achievement of goals, but by our striving. Set your goals. Without goals, you cannot measure your progress. But don't become frustrated because there are no obvious victories. Remind yourself that striving can be more important than arriving. If you are striving for excellence, if you are trying your best day by day with the wisest use of your time and energy to reach realistic goals, you are a success. Budgeting and measuring your financial health. Understand the principles of successful budgeting. What are the principles of successful budgeting? 1. Understand yourself and your goals. 2. Spend less than you earn. 3. Keep good records for spending, tax, and other purposes. 4. Use a budgeting method that meets your individual and family needs and objectives. 5. Eliminate unproductive consumer debt and minimize productive mortgage and education debt. Whatever method you choose, it should accomplish the above principles. There are 5 main types of budgeting methods to help meet your needs and objectives. Click on each icon above to learn more. The envelope method. Requirements. Envelopes for each category. Divide spending each month into categories. At the beginning of each month, take the money you have planned for each category and put it in the envelope. Once a bill comes, take the money from the corresponding envelope and pay the bill. Once the money has gone from one envelope and you need more, you must shift money between other envelopes or make do with what you have. There is no getting money outside the system. The 60% solution method. Requirements: journal or spreadsheet. Determine your gross salary each month. Take 60% of that amount and only spend that amount each month. Do not spend beyond that amount. Take 20% of your salary and save for long-term goals. Take 20% of your salary and save to pay your taxes at year-end. Once you have spent your money, you cannot go outside the method for more money. Spreadsheet methods. Requirements: computer and spreadsheets. Determine spending by categories, rows, and dates, columns, and budget each category. As bills come in, input the spending on each date, column, and row, category. Plan in adequate amounts for a financial reserve and long-term goals. Type in spending directly into spreadsheet. Can be useful if updated regularly. Computer software methods. Requirements: computer and software such as Mint.com free, Quicken, envelopes. Determine your gross salary and take-home each month after taxes and other deductions. Determine spending by category and budget each category. Work to within your budget for each spending category. Obtain receipts and credit card information directly via internet from financial institutions. Can plan in adequate amounts for a financial reserve and long-term goals. Denial methods. Denial: do nothing and hope for the best. Requirements: none. This is what the majority use. Do nothing in these areas. Deny there is a concern. Hope things work out. They should, because I pay my tithing. Only respond when things get so bad that you have to act. Which is the best method? In my experience, the best plans are those that 1. Are low cost and relatively easy to use. 2. Allows downloading of bills from banks and credit card companies, makes data entry easier. 3. Allows adequate categorization of spending for income, spending, reporting, and tax purposes. 4. Minimizes the time spent in doing finances. I spend roughly 1 to 2 hours per week. What I recommend for most. Mint.com for those starting out, free. Spreadsheets for Excel wizards. And Quicken for more advanced users who are willing to put in the upfront time. Budgeting. What is a budget? It is the single most important tool in helping you attain your personal goals. It's the process of making sure your resources are used for the things that matter most, your personal goals. Budgeting is a star to set your sights by, not a stick to beat yourself with. The budget process. The following are the budgeting process steps. Click on each tab to find more. Step 1. Know what you want to accomplish. Goals. Know and write down your goals. What do you want to accomplish? Do you want to graduate from college? Prepare to be a worthy spouse? Get a great job? Send kids to college? Step 2. Track spending, saving, and expenses. There are different methods to track spending. Checks and credit cards. These expenditures leave a paper trail. Cash. Record expenditures in a notebook. Computer programs. Example, Quicken, money. These are very useful, especially if tied to bank and credit card companies. The goal is to generate a monthly income and expense statement. Step 3. Develop your cash budget. Plan the better way. What is a cash budget? A plan for controlling cash inflows and outflows. Its purpose, to help you spend money for what is really important to you. Income. Examine last year's after-tax total income and make adjustments for the current year. Expenses. Identify all fixed, must-have, and variable, would-be-nice-to-have expenditures. Look for ways to reduce your variable expenses. Click on each button below to learn more about budgeting the old way and the better way. The old way. Step 3. Develop your cash budget. Plan the better way. The better way. Pay yourself a predetermined amount directly into savings. That leaves you a balance of your income to budget for taxes, food, clothing, shelter, transportation, etc. It is amazing to me that so many people work all of their lives for the grocer, the landlord, the power company, the automobile salesman, and the bank, and yet think so little of their own efforts that they pay themselves nothing. Step 4. Implement your cash budget. Try the budget for a month. Record all income and expenses in the proper category by date. Sum all days or columns. Note how much you have available in each category at the end of each week. Adjust the plan or expenses as necessary to maintain the plan. Try to be as financially prudent as possible. Step 5. Compare budget to actual expenses. Adjust the plan or your expenses as necessary to maintain the plan. Don't reduce payments to yourself. If all else fails, this system will work. Use the envelope system. Calculate your net worth using a balance sheet. What is a personal balance sheet? A financial snapshot of your financial position on a given date. How do you calculate your net worth or equity? Assets, things you own of value. Liabilities, what you owe others. Net worth, the value of your holdings. Note, there are different ways to value your assets and liabilities. Do it correctly. Assets, what you own. There are 4 different types of assets. This differentiation is important, as it will have a major impact on how you will live your financial lives. Please note that your most important assets are not included on your balance sheet. They include your family and your education. Always keep these assets first in mind. Click on each icon to learn more. Income-generating assets. These are the best type of assets. These assets generate income or capital gains, which may eventually allow you to have income without your having to work. These would include financial assets such as stocks, bonds, or mutual funds, rental properties that are structured well, or even some types of insurance. Appreciating assets. These are assets which may or which have historically appreciated in value. Examples include your home or some types of business assets. Depreciating assets. These are assets which depreciate. Often, the minute you take ownership of these assets, example, drive these assets off the car lot, they drop in value. This includes assets such as automobiles, recreational vehicles, boats, etc. Income-consuming assets. These are assets perhaps listed above which require a constant infusion of cash to keep operative. Examples include automobiles, maintenance, fuel, insurance, recreational vehicles, maintenance, fuel, insurance, homes, property taxes, upkeep, insurance, recreational properties, property taxes, upkeep, insurance, etc. Click on each tab below to know more. Monetary or current assets. Cash or other assets that can be easily converted into cash. These may be income-producing assets. Provide necessary liquidity in case of an emergency. Reported at current or market value. Investment assets. assets, stocks, bonds, mutual funds that are invested for the future. These are also income-producing assets, used to accumulate wealth to satisfy specific goals, reported at current or market value. Retirement plans, income-producing assets such as pensions, IRAs, 401k, etc. by you or employer, used to accumulate wealth for retirement, reported at current or market value. Housing, appreciating tangible assets such as land, dwellings, vacation home, or rental property, used for personal goals or capital income, reported at fair market or appraised value. Automobiles and other vehicles, depreciating assets such as cars, trucks, and RVs that normally must be inspected and licensed, used to meet transportation and work needs, reported at Blue Book or appraised value. Personal property, depreciating tangible assets such as boats, furniture, clothing, etc. These assets represent your lifestyle, reported at fair market value, but normally depreciates. Other assets, any other tangible or intangible assets, business ownership, collections, hobbies that may or may not be of value, used to fulfill specific personal or business goals and objectives, reported at appraised value, but very hard to value. Liabilities, what you owe. Liabilities come in two major forms. Click on each tab below to know more. Current liabilities, liabilities that must be paid off within the next year. Credit cards, utility bills, rent, tuition, books, food, etc. Reported at the current amount, plus accrued interest depending on how soon you pay it off. Long-term liabilities, liabilities that extend beyond 1 year. Examples include student loans, auto loans, home mortgage, consumer loans, credit card debt that you do not expect to pay off within a year, etc. Reported at the current amount, although interest rates and when you pay it off will ultimately determine your ultimate payoff amount. The difference, your net worth. Do you owe more than you own? If so, you are insolvent. It may be okay for most students. You are investing now. Keep your spending off credit cards, though. What is a good level of net worth? Depends on your goals and your life cycle. Good is relative. Where are you now? What does your balance sheet show? Is your net worth growing? Are you reaching your goals? Are you planning for emergencies? Do you have adequate liquid assets? Are you out of credit card and consumer debt? Are you saving for retirement and your other financial goals? If you can answer affirmatively to the above, you are financially healthy. Develop a personal income statement. What is a personal income statement? A financial record your inflows and outflows of cash. It is on a cash basis. The statement is based entirely on actual cash flows, not accruals. Sources of income: wages, tips, royalties, salary, and commissions. Income is amount earned, not necessarily amount received. It also includes taxes, healthcare costs, expenses, etc. Expenditures: where your money goes. Two types of expenses. Fixed expenses: expenses you don't directly control. Mortgage, rent, tuition, books, etc. Variable expense: expenses you can control. Food, entertainment, clothing, BYU Creamery, dates, cable TV, new rims for the Jeep, new snowboard. Can there be differences of opinion as to fixed versus variable expenses? One spouse might consider dates each weekend a fixed expense, while another variable. Be careful that variable expenses are not considered fixed. Most fixed expenses are variable over longer periods of time. Financial ratios, a way to analyze spending. Key questions to ask yourself. Click on each tab to learn more about key questions to ask yourself. Do you have adequate liquidity? These ratios help determine whether or not you have enough monetary assets to pay for an unexpected large expense or to tide you over during periods of reduced or eliminated earnings. Two key liquidity ratios: current ratio and months living expenses covered ratio. Current ratio is calculated by dividing monetary assets by current liabilities. This ratio tells you how many times you could pay off your current liabilities with your liquid cash on hand. Interpretation: ratio greater than 2 recommended. Track the trend, and if it is going down, make changes. Note that this ratio does not consider long-term assets or liabilities. Months living expenses covered ratio is calculated by dividing monetary assets by monthly living expenses. This ratio tells you how many months you could survive in the event of the loss of all current income. Your living expenses do not include charitable contributions, taxes, or savings. Interpretation: a ratio of 3 to 6 is recommended. This ratio should at least be equal to how many months it would take to get a new job. Track the trend, and if it is going down, make changes. Can you meet your debt obligations? These ratios help determine whether or not you can meet your current or long-term debt obligations. Key debt ratios: debt ratio and long-term debt coverage ratio. Debt ratio is calculated by dividing total liabilities by total assets. This ratio tells you whether you could pay off all your liabilities if you liquidated all your assets. Interpretation: this represents the percentage of your assets financed with borrowing. Track the trend. This ratio should go down with age. A zero debt ratio is a great goal. Long-term debt coverage ratio is calculated by dividing after-tax income by long-term debt payments. This ratio tells how long you could make monthly payments on your debt based on your income after taxes. The inverse of this ratio is the debt service ratio. Interpretation: the higher this ratio, the better, as it indicates the longer you could cover your debt payments. Track the trend. This ratio should go up. Ideally, you have no debt. Are you saving as much as you think? These ratios determine what percentage of your income you are putting to work for you each period through savings and investment. Two key savings ratios: savings ratio, gross savings ratio. Savings ratios is calculated by dividing income for savings by income after taxes. This ratio tells you what proportion of your after-tax income is being saved. Interpretation: U.S. rate typically 1% to 8%. Track the trend. If it is decreasing, make changes. We recommend a minimum savings ratio 10% plus, but in reality, 20% plus if possible, and more as you get older.